Hello, welcome to the IELTS Multi-step program. Today, I'm going to be taking you on a journey of success in the IELTS writing task. Writing is unarguably the most difficult part for most non-native speakers of the language. And I'm here to tell you today that it could be the easiest one for you. It could be your pathway to getting a band 9 in the IELTS. How? There are 4 easy strategies for you to move your writing score from a band 6 or a band 5 to an instant band 8.5 or band 9. How is this possible? The third tip is quite important, so you need to watch this video till the end. Before we begin, we'd like to take a description of the writing task itself. The writing task is divided into 2 parts. You have the part 1 and the part 2. For the academic module and the general training module, the part 1 is different. For both modules, the part 2 is the same. For your academic writing, the thing you're going to do is you're going to describe visual information in 20 minutes. Most times, the visual information that you're going to describe or comment on is going to be a diagram, a chart, or a graph. For general training, what you will do will be to respond to a given situation by writing a letter. We will go into the details of that task later on. For the writing task 2, which is the one that straddles both the general training and the academic, what you will be doing is writing an essay. In this essay, you may be asked to provide a solution, evaluate a problem, compare and contrast different sides or ideas or opinions, and challenge an argument. All these can be done in 40 minutes. And what I will be doing today is taking you to the strategies and the tips that will ensure that you get the highest scores in this task. What are the assessment criteria that we need to be aware of before we even start this task? Everything in the IELTS is based on a rigid assessment criteria. Knowing what will be assessed is as important as doing the right thing. So I'll take you through the assessment criteria that will be used to assess your writing task, and that will probably shed more light on what you need to do and why these strategies that I will be giving to you are very effective. For the writing task 1, the most important criteria is task achievement. What does that simply mean? Did you answer the question fully? Did you write 150 words? When you do this, you fully achieved the essence of that task. For the writing task 2, the most important criteria is called task response or TR. When you get your script or the answer script that you will be getting in the exam, underneath there are some boxes where the criteria used for assessment is listed here. So you'll find TR, which corresponds with task response. Now, what does TR mean? Did you answer or address all of the points in the question? Did you provide a balanced argument and support your ideas with evidence and examples? Were all your ideas relevant to the question? Did you write at least 250 words? Once you do this, you will be considered to have fully responded to the task. After we go through task achievement and task response, we will now come to the other criteria that are tested, which goes for both academic and general training. Following task response and task achievement is coherence and cohesion, or what we call CC. Simply, is your writing easy to understand? Are all your ideas well organized and clearly linked? Once you can do this, you will be considered to have gotten maximum scores for coherence and cohesion. After coherence and cohesion, we come to lexical resource. Lexical resource simply deals with the words that you use, the vocabulary that you use. And in this place, what is assessed is this. Did you use a wide range of vocabulary accurately and effectively? Once you do this, you will be considered to get maximum scores for lexical resource. For grammatical range and accuracy, which happens to be the last criteria that is assessed, what you need to do is this. Did you use a wide range of grammatical structures accurately and effectively? Do this and you'll be considered to have scored maximum scores or the highest scores that you can get for the grammar part. The most interesting thing in the criteria listed is that grammar is the fourth criteria and it is the last criteria. For most non-native speakers of the language or users of the language, we consider grammar to be the be-all and see-all. But it isn't. For the IELTS, what we are most concerned about is this. Did you answer the question? Did you respond to the task? Does your response achieve the aim of the question? Do this and you will automatically shoot up beyond a band 6. What now takes you up from band 6 to band 7 to band 8 to band 9 is how well you can tweak the other criteria there. Coherence and cohesion, grammatical accuracy, and lexical resource. For each of these criteria, I will be giving you specific tips that will ensure that you maximize all the scores that you can get in those areas, and that will effectively contribute to your success in the IELTS. So, let's get started immediately. The first thing that we will be doing, and that I feel is the most important for you when you get the written question in the IELTS, is to interpret the question. Interpreting the question is a task that can take you as much as 10 minutes, 5 minutes if you're really fast, and for some people, up to 15 minutes. The question you ask is this: why would I spend so much time on interpreting the question when I have just 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2? And this is the answer. When you are clear about what the question wants you to do, when you have clearly interpreted the question and you've digested the task that has been assigned to you, it becomes easier to write it within the allotted time. If you do not take your time to interpret the question, to digest what the task wants you to do, you will start off quickly, but you will get stuck in the middle. And no one wants to get stuck in an IELTS essay. The reason being that if you get stuck and you now take 2 to 3 minutes to think of what you're going to do next, what happens is that the paragraph that follows, or the sentence that follows that break in transmission, shows that there's a deviation in the tone of your writing. As an examiner who is trained to mark the IELTS, I will notice this. And once that is noticed, what it says to me is that you do not have the communicative competence to get maximum scores in the writing task. Please do not set yourself up for that. Take your time to effectively interpret the question. And the things that come under interpretation are this. You're going to make an outline, the first thing. Making an outline simply means jotting down all the ideas that come into your mind when you see a question. For example, if you're given a very primary question like this that says, the family unit is the most important in the society. For some people, they believe that the mothers are the most special part of the family, as they are caregivers and nurturers. To what extent do you agree or disagree with this opinion or with this stand? And for you, you're choosing to disagree with that opinion, which means that you're choosing that fathers are more important than mothers. The first thing you want to do is this. You look at the question clearly, read the sentence that has been given. Decide if you fully understand what the task wants you to do. When the task says, do you agree, or to what extent do you agree or disagree with this statement? It's asking you if you either support mothers as being the most important part of the family, or you're choosing the other side. The other side naturally would be what? Fathers. So if I say I disagree, it means that I am supporting fathers. And when I put down the word father, I start listing down the reasons why I believe fathers are more important than mothers in the family unit. Now, at this point in time, I can jot down as many ideas that come into my mind. But there's a caveat there. You do not want to write so many ideas and you end up throwing yourself into a confused state. For the IELTS, most times, the number of ideas that you need to develop a 250-word essay is not more than just 2 or 3. So, the task is not a task of intelligence. Nobody is asking you to think of 150 ideas why fathers are better than mothers in the family unit. All they need are 2 or 3 solid ideas that are expanded carefully and that are well explained and supported in your essay. Do this and you will be considered to have fully responded to the task. Like I said earlier, at this point, I'm listing down all the ideas that I have for fathers being more important than mothers. When I finish that, I now rearrange my outline. What do I mean by rearranging your outline? This is where you now rank your ideas in the order of importance. For example, the ideas I've listed down as for fathers being more important than mothers could include being the breadwinner of the family, being the disciplinarian in the family, being the man of the house, if you're going to use that, or being the strongest person in the house. Now, when I start rearranging my points in the order of importance, obviously, being the strongest person in the house would be a weak point that would not come before being a disciplinarian or being the breadwinner of the family. At this point, what you're doing is you're sorting your ideas. You're discarding the ones that are weak. You're discarding the ones that might not be easy for you to expand. And you're sticking to the ones that will give you more information to expand your ideas. After you list them out and you prioritize your ideas in the order of importance, then you're ready for the next step. The next step in this interpretation part and making an outline is for you to think of the examples or the supporting details that you will use to develop your ideas in the paragraph. Remember, we haven't even started writing yet. Doing this, all that I've mentioned, doing this is as important as writing the task itself. Take your time to interpret the question, brainstorm, generate ideas, prioritize your ideas in the order of importance, and then find supporting details that would go with the ideas that you have listed as your first, second, and third point if you're going to use 3 points. At this point, you are just generating ideas. For the writing task, the part of generating ideas generation is very, very essential. When you're writing, you're doing 2 things. Your brain is doing 2 things. It is generating ideas and generating vocabulary. You do not want to stress your brain. What you want to do in the IELTS is to take some time to separate ideas generation from vocabulary generation. So the part where you're interpreting the question, making your outline, prioritizing your ideas, generating supporting details, all that you're doing there is ideas generation. Finish with that first before you start writing the essay. When you start writing the essay, the only thing that your brain will be doing is to supply the appropriate and relevant vocabulary that you need to express the ideas that you have put down. This is a very, very important tip that will help you move to a band 9 easily. The hard way to move to a band 9 is to see a question and say, this is an easy question, and start writing immediately without doing an outline, without generating ideas, without prioritizing your ideas, without putting supporting details. You may get a band 9 if you're good, but why put yourself through this stress? Why take that risk when you can go the easy way of separating the ideas generation from vocabulary generation? This is the first step for every writing task, be it task 1 or task 2. Once you're done with this, then you are ready to move on to the next step of the writing task.